Am I the a-hole for telling my parents that I don't think of them as parents anymore? My 17 female parents got divorced when I was 9, and probably for the best because they sucked together. The road to get there was messy, and they still don't get along and use any little thing to get at each other. So I've learned to just keep my head down and take care of myself. They both were dating before the ink was dry on the divorce, so remarriages happened a few years ago. My stepdad is alright. He is the only person who didn't expect me to be happy about everything or try to force me to bond, so we stay in our lanes and get along. His son is older than me and overseas in the military, so I haven't had to meet him. But he and my mom recently had a baby. My stepmom is meh, not bad but kind of interfering and doesn't stay in her lane. So I have no interest in forming any kind of relationship with her beyond what's necessary to live in the same house. That upsets her, but she's a big girl and can deal with disappointment. It's not going to change at this point. Her kids are still in single digits and kind of irritating, so I avoid them when possible. My parents were busy dating and now dealing with their new families, so I've mostly been left to do my own thing. And when I'm home at either place, I stay in my room and mind my own business. I just got my college acceptance and scholarships finalized, so I'm planning for graduation. I'll be working away for the summer, and it would be more convenient travel-wise just to go directly from there to school in the fall. I already have most necessities with me, and can travel light and buy what I need for my dorm when I get there. My stepmom wants me to come back for a couple of weeks because people will want to spend time with me before I go to school. I told her that wouldn't be necessary. She told my dad, who asked me why, and I told him that at this point we don't have to all pretend we like each other anymore. So it's probably best to call it like it is, and for me to just go and spend some time away for a while. He has his family, mom has hers, and I'm just the last remnant of a failed relationship. So once I'm gone, we're all finally free. They've spent the years since the divorce being more like legal guardians than parents anyway, and I haven't thought of them as actual parents for a long time. It turned into a big circus. My dad blames my mom and my mom blames my dad who writes a script. They're both very hurt. My stepmom thinks I'm being very cruel. My stepdad just said, "You feel how you feel." Now I have to go to counseling. But really, I feel like it needed to be said finally because the elephant has been in the room for a while. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. 1 point, don't treat the counseling as a punishment. You might actually need support and a professional can provide it. You will recognize if the counselor is a professional by whether he will actually provide emotional support or whether he will try to force you into relationships with people regardless of their horrible treatment of you. There's irony in neither of her parents realizing that they went and immediately proved her point. At least stepdad is chill. Not a-hole. Your plan makes sense and I agree with your chill stepdad. You feel how you feel. They can go to therapy if they are very hurt. But you should be able to move on with your life that you have already taken steps forward with. College, scholarships, job, and to be left alone if that is what you want. That's a very sad view to take on to therapy. I mean, I agree with stepdad's comment, but therapy is not a punishment. If she has some emotional load to unpack, hello, keeping this sort of thing in for years, she should take the opportunity. Therapy isn't cheap, so it may take years for her to afford it for herself if she later decides it would benefit her. OP, if nothing else, think about your future and take advantage of the therapy. What can it hurt? Not stay home. It sounds as if they were busy with themselves and still are. Because they are hurt. And I don't read any concern for your feelings, only how it makes them feel. But go to counseling. This is an opportunity and you should take it. Not because anything here is your fault, but a good counselor probably will tell your parents they need to address your feelings and have them look at how they handled things. Next story. Am I the a-hole for sending my cousin the bill for my kid's birthday cake because her kid ruined it? We recently threw my 5-year-old a birthday party. He hasn't had a real birthday party since he was 2 years old due to COVID, so this was the first one he'd actually remember. We wanted to make it special, so we invited all our closest friends, family members, and their kids. One of my cousins, a single mom, has a very unruly 6-year-old. He is loud, disobedient, and a nightmare in public. When it came time to blow out the candles and cut the birthday cake, he came and stood directly next to my son. I anticipated what was going to happen next, and asked my husband to stand behind this kid in case he tried to pull anything. After we sang, this kid kept trying to blow out the candles. My husband kept blocking him and pulling him back, and we could tell the kid was getting frustrated. Eventually, my son blew out the candles and the kid absolutely lost it. He threw a tantrum and slammed his entire arm into the cake, knocking it into the table. It was so awkward. Everyone gasped and got quiet. My son looked up at us and I could tell he was about to start crying. In an effort to not cause a bigger scene, my husband picked him up and whispered to him that we had another special cake just for him. We didn't, and he seemed to calm down. Meanwhile, his cousin was still standing there screaming and crying, his arm covered in cake, while his mom was nowhere to be seen. I walked him over to the sink and washed him off, and quietly told him that he shouldn't have done that to the cake, and that he should apologize to his cousin for what he did. He screamed no in my face and then ran away. My husband ended up running out to buy a sheet cake that we cut and served to everyone. I spoke to my cousin after the party about what happened since she wasn't in the room, and she brushed it off saying kids will be kids. I completely disagree. I've been to plenty of birthday parties where the other kids let the birthday boy/girl have their moment. I suggested she pay for the ruined cake, and she looked at me like I was crazy. I told her how important it was to us that this birthday be special to my son, since it would be the first one he remembered, and how all he would remember was that his cousin ruined a special moment. She got extremely defensive and refused to pay for anything. She then accused me of acting like the perfect mom and began to list the ways in which I was in fact not perfect. It was a hurtful conversation and we haven't spoken since. I sent her the bill for the ruined cake and she has not paid us. I actually feel she should pay for both cakes, since her kid is the reason we had to get another one, but I didn't go that far. My husband thinks she'll never pay us and that I should drop the issue at this point. He says that since she's a single mom, it's probably hard on her, and we should cut them both some slack. I understand that, but I feel like it's just letting her and her son off the hook, and this will lead to even bigger problems in the future if we don't hold them accountable. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. But you'll never get your money and I think you made a point. The kid is a jerk because the parent is a jerk. No longer invite them to any parties and enjoy your immediate family because they seem nice. I agree. You will never get your money back. Your only way to go from here is to cut her out completely, because her son and her bad parenting will only get worse. Plus, holding them accountable isn't going to be the magic lesson that resolves all their issues. Not stay whole, but obviously she's not going to pay for the cake. Don't invite her to any more occasions or events and just write her off. Her son is going to have massive problems in the future no matter what. It's not your responsibility, nor do you even have the ability to prevent that. Hounding her about paying for the cake isn't going to make any difference at all, except make both of you feel more anger and resentment. Believe me, when your son is older, he's going to remember, oh yeah, I remember a-hole cousin Joe ruined my cake that year. I wonder if he's out of jail yet. Yeah. I used to date someone whose younger nephews were this level of entitled. The last time I heard anything, about 12 to 14 years after we broke up, was them in the news being arrested for various destructive stuff. My thought at the time was, not surprising. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit one of my nieces anymore because she stole my son's medicine because she thought it was chocolate? I am a stay-at-home mom of 5 boys, and because I am the only one in our family who doesn't have a job, I also watch my 2 nieces, 5 and 11. Only the 5-year-old is my brother's genetic child. The 11-year-old is from my sister-in-law's previous relationship. Normally, I would have never mentioned that because our family treats both girls the same, of course, but it's relevant in this case. Since my brother and sister-in-law and parents all still work, they come over to my house every day and I care for them and help them with their virtual schooling along with my own kids. One of my boys has a problem with chronic constipation, to the point that he's had a problem with encaprices because of it. Doctors still don't know exactly what is wrong. We're still trying to figure it out. One of his medicines he has to take every day is those X-Lax chocolate bars. He has 1/2 square every morning. We've had issues in the past with the kids asking for chocolate because they see my son eat some, but I've explained it's not really candy, but son's medicine. My other son understands and is fine with it. There have been a few times my sister-in-law has asked if I could get a normal chocolate bar for the other kids, so everyone gets chocolate in the morning to make it fair. I refuse to do that because my kids don't need chocolate every day. And it wouldn't be fair to my son because this medicine is fairly bitter and certainly does not taste like real chocolate. So long story short, the 11-year-old ended up stealing all of my son's medicine and ate the whole thing one afternoon when I wasn't looking. Obviously, this did not turn out well for her, and her parents had to take her to the hospital because she was so sick. I was furious because she knew that was not allowed, but she said it wasn't fair that my son always got chocolate and she didn't. I told brother that I didn't want to watch 11-year-old anymore because I can't trust her not to steal my son's medicine. Sister-in-law is furious, saying she has no one else to watch her, and I could have fixed this by letting her daughters have chocolate to make it fair. I said I will still watch the 5-year-old, but not the 11-year-old, who is mad at me too and not apologetic at all. Brother is begging me to look past this, but honestly, I don't want to. I am so mad that she did this, and now I have to buy more medicine. Am I the a-hole? She is only 11, but she knew what she did was wrong and still says it's unfair. So how do I know she won't do it again? Just not eat as much? I don't know. Edit. Forgot to add that sister-in-law is accusing me of not wanting to watch 11-year-old because she is not related to me like 5-year-old is. Obviously, that is not true. I love them both equally. I just don't like the behavior of the eldest. The 5-year-old behaves fine. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. You clearly explained that it was not chocolate and in fact medicine. Her mother needs to check herself. Not only does her daughter owe you an apology, so does she. You are providing a service that many parents have to pay thousands a month for. You certainly don't owe her daughter snacks that you wouldn't be giving your own children. Medicine is medicine, no matter what it looks like. If she wants to give her child candy, she can do so in her own home. I can only imagine how this girl will end up when she can steal medicine, not have to apologize and apparently suffer no consequences for her actions. She'll be a nightmare in a few years. Or dead. Dead is a realistic option too, because she ate probably a day's worth of medicine she didn't know anything about. This girl will die of an overdose in my eyes. Scenario. But Mom, I hope he drinks whiskey. I want whiskey too. My best friend has an uncle who got away with everything just like this girl. He's now a 30-year heroin addict in methadone therapy and is dying very, very, very slowly. Her grandmother, who had a big part in his addiction, is 88 now. She spent most of what should have been her retirement and most of her resources keeping him housed, sporadically sober, fed, and out of jail. Oddly, she was super strict on her other 2 kids. They have gone low contact because she kept asking them for money to support the older brother. So many lives ruined because she let him do whatever he wanted as a child. Free childcare, free chocolate, not offering to pay to replace the medicine? Your sister-in-law sounds like she will take from you as much as possible. And if the 5-year-old does something harmful/expensive in the future, I wouldn't expect her to offer to make amends for it either. I'm sorry your generosity has been taken advantage of, not stay home. Right? Holy moly! She should be grateful to have free childcare and discipline her child. My eyes rolled at the idea that you have to give everyone chocolate in the morning to make it fair. 11 years old is old enough to listen and not act out like that after understanding no means no. Doesn't matter what arguments are made, it's all moot. You've made a decision and that's that. You don't even need a reason to stop watching any children besides your own. Do not give in. Last story. Am I the a-hole for splitting chores between my daughters equally? I have 2 daughters, Sadie 23 female and Hannah 15 female. Sadie moved back in with us after she got her college degree. She's not working at the moment and my wife, her stepmom, complained about her not helping out, or at least keeping the house clean. Instead, she goes out with friends mostly daily, or sits chatting or watching Netflix for hours. I had a talk with Sadie and let her know that it's time to help out. I gave her a list of chores to do and she said, whatever, but I still made sure she does them all. A few days ago, Sadie complained about how unfair it is that she has a list of chores to get done while Hannah doesn't. I figured that yes, she's right. And so I went ahead and made an equal list of chores for Hannah, since Sadie stopped doing anything till there's some equality achieved in the house. The problem occurred when Hannah saw the list. She said it was unfair that she gets an equal list of chores as her sister, without keeping in mind that she, Hannah, has school has piano lessons and homework and therapy appointments, while Sadie sits around or hangs out with friends all day, then come home being free of homework or school. I told her it's all about equality. I don't care which one has more time to spare. Hannah got upset and brought my wife into it. My wife said it's unreasonable to give two girls of different ages, different routines, and responsibilities the same list of chores. I again insisted that I am trying to establish equality, which is the most important thing. Yet my wife said I'm being unfair and requested I give Hannah a smaller list, but I refused. We began fighting, and I flat out told her that just because Hannah's her biological daughter doesn't mean she gets to be favored and cuddled. My wife got pissed over my statement and claimed I was enabling Sadie's irresponsible behavior. We went back and forth on this several times till we both blew up at each other. The girls have noticed because of the tension, and the house is now basically split into two teams. We still haven't reached an agreement, and my wife is choosing to die on this hill. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. You say you're trying to establish equality, but all you're doing is punishing Hannah for Sadie's laziness. You tell your wife she's favoring her daughter. What do you think you are doing? They're not in the same place in life and should not be treated the same. Sadie sounds like a lazy freeloader, whom you've likely catered to her whole life, hence the attitude. And Hannah does work. Equality doesn't work this way. If someone pushes another person down, you don't comfort them both to keep things equal. Hannah's responsibilities include school and other things she does for her health. Having someone load a dishwasher when they aren't doing anything and dumping that on top of someone who is writing a paper before bed isn't equality. The total number of hours/energy exerted Hannah has on her plate is already there. If you put that on a scale and added a chore Sadie has to do, it would not be balanced. As an aside, I'm glad Hannah's in therapy. Very glad. You're the a-hole. Sadie can get off her butt and clean, and she needs a job ASAP. Hannah had a job. It's called school. Your wife is right, and this is really horrible parenting on your part. Stop enabling Sadie by punishing the child that has done nothing wrong. Having chores is one thing, but it's pretty obvious that was never required before. But I'd bet money that Sadie didn't have any when she was Hannah's age. Would I be the a-hole if I ignored my parents' olive branch after the traumatic birth of my babies? My husband, 38 male, and I, 30 female, have been together for 12 years, married for 7. I had a strained relationship with my parents, late 60s, prior to meeting my husband, due to my mother's behavior and my father's lack of action against it. Some examples for context: my father went away for work for about 6 months when I was 8. My mother didn't do any of the motherly duties and relied on me to care for my younger siblings. Aside from taking us to school, she didn't help with homework, cook dinner, or wash our clothes. My dad did all this before he went away. At 8, I was making sandwiches for my siblings while my mom read her book in the bath. I would put them to bed and make sure they had clean clothes, as we were being picked on for being the dirty kids. We went no contact about 11 years ago, when I became seriously unwell, 2 weeks in intensive care, followed by a further 5 weeks in hospital. And my parents didn't contact me once. They knew as my now husband had called them. They didn't visit, call, or text, but posted on social media about how devastated they were with the situation, acting like the most caring parents in the world. When my husband and I got engaged, we sent invitations to our wedding to them, with no response. They didn't attend. My husband reached out to my father shortly after we got married when I found out I was expecting. The response was lackluster, along the lines of, "I hope you're both happy," but nothing more. No contact after that, nor when we had our second child. Recently, we had a very traumatic pregnancy and birth, with my babies arriving 3 months early with major complications. 2 weeks after the birth, I received contact from my parents in the form of a Facebook request and a message saying, "Long time no speak," which I have not responded to. We speak to numerous members of the family, so I imagine they have heard what's happened. I don't know what to do. I don't understand why they would reach out now when I've had many major life events in the interim: wedding, birth of first and second child, graduating university, etc. I can only imagine it's similar to when I was in hospital and all about attention or what they can say on social media. I don't trust their motives at all. My husband and I are at odds over this, though. He believes they may have realized the error of their ways and are trying to make amends. It's causing arguments because he thinks I should accept the friend request and what he perceives as an olive branch. I genuinely don't know what to do. Would I be the a-hole if I block them and remain no contact, knowing this will probably be it until they die? Now for the top comments before reading the update. First of all, you are a great human being for picking up motherly duties at such a young age. Second, you've got a great husband who is with you through good and bad. Now, coming to the question, the story misses a lot of details. Was your father only out for work for the 6 months you mentioned, or was he out frequently? Does he do all the house chores when he is home, or do you kids help too? What does your mother do when your father is at home? Did you tell your father about your mother's behavior? When did you and your siblings move out? Are your parents still married? Despite all this, not the a-hole. There is a motive behind the reach out. They have some inconvenience in life and need your help, so they're trying to butter you up. Or they're trying to play the empathetic parent and appear to support their daughter during her struggles in front of the world and relatives, so they can say things like, "I was there for you when you had a rough pregnancy." Whatever their intentions are, accepting that friend request brings no good. Now that you are recovering from a traumatic experience, you don't need any more stress that brings back bad memories. You're right, it does gloss over a lot of details. Thought I'd pinpoint some biggies without boring everyone. After my father came back, he was working 45 plus hours of shift work a week, so he wasn't around much. But when he was, he did look after us. I spoke to him about what happened when he was away, and he roped in my late grandparents for the days he was on shift after school. This ended when I was 11 and my grandmother died. My siblings moved out as soon as they could. My youngest pretty much moved in with friends at 15, and the other left for university. We don't speak about our parents as they're still in touch, but low contact as far as I'm aware. My parents are still married. My husband thinks our kids should know their biological grandparents and has never really grasped the extent of their behavior toward me and my siblings, but his intentions are good, since they do ask questions. If my parents were split, I would possibly go low contact with my father but would never let my mother near my children. Thank you. I wasn't sure if my postpartum hormones and current state of mind was clouding my judgment. Not the a-hole. It comes across that your husband has not had abusive parents and so cannot understand what you've been through. I would not contact them at all. They do not deserve to be a part of your or your children's lives. They forfeited those rights when they neglected you and parentified you as a child. That is abuse. I agree with you, but I want to point out that you don't need to have lived through abuse to have empathy for people who have, or at least to respect their opinion on the matter, even if you don't fully understand it. I don't speak to my brother for reasons I won't get into. My husband has never even hinted that I should accept his attempts to make amends because, even though he can't wrap his head around not being close to your siblings, he respects my experience and my decisions. I agree. It has been a discussion point between my husband and me on several occasions. He cannot fathom not having a relationship with your parents. In his words, he doesn't want me to live with regrets. His intentions are good. He's just not the most emotionally intelligent person sometimes. After he reached out when I was expecting, I wasn't aware, and he told me what happened when I got upset about the situation. He has never done anything like that again. He just feels like this is a last chance saloon and that I'll regret it if we never speak again. I do know, however, that he will not speak to them unless that's what I want. Edit. Hi all. Thank you for all your comments so far. With regard to my husband's age, yes, he's 7 years older than me. We got together when I was nearly 19, and he had just turned 26. There was no grooming or any other perverted situation surrounding us. He does take on a bit of a parental figure at times, and this is something we have been working on for 8 years with the help of a therapist. For more context, my husband isn't keen for me to reconnect with my mother. His intentions are toward my dad. He agrees our children should never have any contact with my mother, nor would he ever push for us to speak. His view is that my dad is a victim as much as I am, that he's trapped in an abusive relationship. To some extent, I agree, which is where my indecision comes from. If my parents divorced and went no contact with each other, I would probably look to reconnect with my father on a low-contact basis without the children involved. I will show my husband the responses when he gets back from work. For those who asked about the babies, they're still in NICU, and more than likely will be for the next couple of months. They're doing well, all things considered, and are stable now. Thanks for taking the time to read and respond. Now for the update. So, I did what many of you suggested and sat down and showed my husband this post and all the responses. It opened up a conversation about my past, which for the most part I've been fairly guarded about. It upsets me, and like in this post, he knew the highlights, but I never really liked delving too deep as it upset me. I've always tried to avoid sitting in my feelings as it gets me nowhere, so my husband has never fully known the extent of what we went through as kids. He has promised again that he will never contact them, and for those who suggested it, he was not in contact with them prior to this. And that should they reach out to him, he will not respond unless that's what I want. He has accepted he was wrong in his views, and apologized to me profusely for pushing me on this. But these responses have opened my eyes, and his, to the fact that my father was complicit in our upbringing, something which will be taken away and discussed with my therapist. For those of you who offered support and kind words, thank you. For those who have thrown ridiculous insinuations about my husband, piss off with your perfect lives. I've deleted the message and blocked them, and will be continuing. No contact, and doubt I will ever revisit that scenario. For now, we will be focusing on supporting each other during our NICU stage and in the hopefully near future, our completed family all together at home. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not forcing my son to interact with his sister, even when she's in dire condition? If you had told me my family would become like this, I wouldn't have believed you. I have 3 kids, Kenny, Leon, and Sandra. Right now, Kenny practically ignores the existence of his sister. It all started about 5 years ago. Sandra was married to Kenny's best friend, Robert. They had a marriage most people would consider amazing. They traveled the world, had good careers, and genuinely loved each other. It was like that until Robert got into an accident and lost mobility in his lower body. It was tragic. He became very depressed, and their marriage didn't survive. The main reason? My daughter had an affair about a year after the accident, and Robert was heartbroken. I was so disappointed in her, but Kenny was furious with her and, after their divorce, stopped talking to her entirely. It's been like that ever since. He doesn't care about her, didn't go to her second wedding, and hasn't met her kids. He's just stuck with Leon and me. His relationship with his dad has also gone downhill because of his choice to ignore and cut her off. I never forced him to do anything outside of his comfort zone. I cherish my relationship with him, and frankly, it's not like he's harassing her about the past. He just doesn't want her around him. Anyway, Sandra's health has been declining after her last child, and she's been stuck in the hospital longer than we anticipated. Hopefully she gets better. During this time, she's expressed how much she wants Kenny near her, and how much she misses him. She wants him to meet his nephew. I let her vent and cry since she's going through a lot, both emotionally and physically, but I don't try to force Kenny to come here. He knows her condition and hasn't visited, so I thought it was clear he didn't want to see her. Well, my husband doesn't agree and has started pressuring him to see his sister, calling him heartless and cruel for doing this to her. Kenny blocked him and hasn't spoken or responded. Now my husband has been telling me I need to talk some sense into Kenny, but I don't want to. I know it might put a strain on our relationship, and I don't want that. My daughter has people around her, me, her husband, kids, my husband, and Leon, so it's not like she's alone. My husband is angry with me and has been avoiding me, which makes me feel like I might be the a-hole. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. I applaud you for not getting in the middle of their relationship. It's Kenny's decision to either be in or out of his sister's life. I'm sorry that she's doing poorly at the moment, but she fooled around and found out. And since Kenny isn't trying to sabotage anyone else's relationship with his sister, I don't think he's an a-hole either. On the other hand, your husband is an a-hole because he's trying to force the issue. Good luck, and I hope your daughter recovers. Also, does husband think OP can change what choice Kenny makes? Or is it a bit of a hurt ego and wanting to sabotage OP's relationship with Kenny, like how he messed up his own? Can't be the bad parent if both do the same thing. She chose to cheat. Kenny chooses not to be there for her like she wasn't there for his friend. There is no good outcome for you advocating for your daughter. Kenny has shown his determination to ignore her. Your interceding on her behalf will only drive him away from you too. Even if you think he's being too harsh, you cannot insist on policing his feelings, not the a-hole. She chose to cheat. Kenny chooses not to be there for her. Oh no, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. She may want reconciliation, but it's not hers to expect or demand. This is the result of her actions. It's not a punishment. It's just life. Cheaters always think they are worth more than their actual value. That's why they cheat. That's why they can't understand when someone doesn't want them. Listen to her narrative. It's still me, me, me. She doesn't actually care about her brother, and he knows it. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Stay out of it. We all have a moral compass. Granted, it is a wide sliding scale. It would seem that Kenny's has led him to not want to be associated with his sister. He is not berating her or trying to turn others against her. Take a step back and look at the big picture. Your daughter abandoned her husband after his health declined, causing further damage with increased depression. It sounds like Kenny continued to have a front row seat to his friend's pain, while your daughter went on to have a new marriage and children. Now because she is having health issues, everyone should come running to support her. Does your husband expect her ex-husband to show sympathy too? Your husband is destroying his relationship with his son, if he hasn't already done so. Last story. My brother left me to deal with our abusive dad when I was a teen. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to do anything with him anymore years later? Growing up, my dad was abusive to me, 40 male, and my older brother Zach, 42 male. It got worse after our mom died, and then he started a new family with his new wife and 2 half-siblings. I always thought that as long as I had my brother and we stuck by each other, we would be fine. Well, he thought differently. When he turned 18, he just left me. He dropped a note saying he couldn't do this anymore and that he was sorry, but he needed to do it for himself. He blocked me and disappeared. When my dad got the news, he was devastated, and I guess that was the push he needed to try to do better by me. He tried forcing me to spend time with him and went on about how sorry he was for how he treated me and Zach. I've never forgiven him. I hated how he could flip a switch for his new wife and kids when he was an abusive piece of crap to me. After I turned 19, I cut him off completely. My life was a mess in my 20s. I turned to alcohol, got into fights, hung out with the wrong people and all that jazz. I got better after a couple of years since I almost died at one point. I turned my life around, got a great job, fell in love with my wife Saria, and had 4 daughters. My life has been great. I never thought I'd find the happiness I have. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I'm not active on social media, but my wife is, and she posts a lot about us. Through that, I ended up getting a message from someone claiming to be Zach. I checked the profile and it was him. He's married to another man, has 1 kid, and seems to be doing well. He sent a long message saying how much he missed me and how guilty he felt for leaving me like that. He mentioned that he and our dad have reconnected and just want me back in his life now. He said he saw a picture of my wife and kids and wished he could meet them. I'll be honest, I felt angry reading that. The moment I get my life together, he wants to come back and act like a family? I blocked him and thought that was the end of it. He contacted me 3 more times, and I've blocked him each time. The reason I'm here is because of my father-in-law. He and my wife had a hard relationship, but they've reconciled. I told him what's happening, and he just said to give Zach a chance since I might regret it. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? No a-holes here. I understand that your brother had to leave. He did what he had to do, just as you have too. It's hard being left behind when you need someone, even if you understand why. He did also wait 20 years to get in contact with you. That part I'm not sure about. I don't think he's an a-hole, but I do find it strange that there is a 2-year age difference. But he kept you blocked and did not have any line open or try to reconnect in the 20 years? Either way, you got your life together. You're happy where you are. If you don't want to reconnect, there's nothing wrong with that. I would ask you to sit down and think through it all with a level head and see where you're at and if you would ever want a relationship with him again. Ultimately, you're not the a-hole either way. My situation isn't exactly the same, but I would be closest to the older sibling in your story. I would have reached out to you hoping to reconcile. When you blocked me the first time, I would have my answer and respected your decision. You don't owe your brother anything. He knows what he did. The other question about him protecting himself is a separate issue. He knows what he did to you, and he has no right to beg or hassle or demand forgiveness from you. Not the a-hole. You're not ready, so don't force yourself to do it. Tell your wife and father-in-law to respect your decision. Time heals all wounds, but sometimes they heal after the other party has left this world. Only you can decide if you can bear that thought. There's no right or wrong answer to it. Forgiveness is a part of healing, but healing can be a long and painful process. I've been in a similar situation as OP, but eventually decided I didn't want to live with hatred toward anyone in my family, despite having the right to be angry with most of them. Eventually, I opened the door and found that my family member genuinely tried to make positive changes in their life. If your family members haven't changed or haven't asked for forgiveness, I can understand still blocking them out. It's a two-way street. It can't be just one side wanting to heal and change. It has to come from both sides to work. Best of luck, OP. I think I just dumped my boyfriend because he proposed. What now? Original post. Today is my boyfriend's 25 female and my 30 male second anniversary. I don't talk to my parents. I haven't said a word to them since I was 16. I don't want to put the reason here, but it was bad enough that me never speaking to them again could be seen as them getting off lightly. I left home at 16 by marrying my best friend, 25 male. He knew what was happening the whole time and wanted to help me, and it was bad enough that marriage was the best escape plan I had. It was the only way to avoid being dragged back home. I'd tried running away before this. We divorced 5 years later. We were both having issues with student finance, so we needed to go through it as married. I took his surname to avoid being tied to my parents, and my friend and I are still close. He actually set me up with my current boyfriend. My mom contacted me right before Christmas. I deleted my old Facebook and then made a new one back in November and forgot about the privacy settings until Mom messaged. She was asking if she and Dad could see me on Christmas Day. My boyfriend saw the message and asked who it was. I admitted she was my mother. This led to questions, as the only time I'd talked about my parents was to say I don't speak to them. I said that she found me, but I wasn't going to reply. I said I have my reasons, which I'm not ready to tell yet, but I would as soon as I was ready. He said that was good enough for him. I blocked her and moved on. It's been a few months, and I've been trying to tell him, but it's hard. It's like every time I try, I just can't get the words out. And then tonight, on our second anniversary, he proposed, using my Nan's ring, which my parents have. I asked where he got it, and he told me he'd gone to see my parents. He got Mom's name when she messaged me, contacted her, and went to see her within a few days of me getting that message. The whole time knowing that I didn't want to hear from her. He'd asked them for permission to marry me, and they'd given him Nan's ring because Nan always meant for me to have it. I don't know if I actually dumped him. I definitely told him to leave, but I didn't actually break up with him. He's at his sister's place right now and keeps calling and texting me, wanting to know what he did and asking me to call him. His sister, who I'm friends with, is also asking what happened. I knew he was traditional and that he put a lot of stock into family, which is why he was so close with his own family. But he knew I didn't speak to mine and never pried into it. Just took me at my word when I said I'd tell him when I was ready. And when I said that, he said he was patient and could wait as long as I needed. When I was in therapy, my therapist used to make me write stuff down or draw pictures, or basically just put my feelings somewhere to get them out. So that's what I'm doing now. I wasn't even sure I was going to post this, but right now I'm just so lost and I have no idea what I'm doing or where I go from here. I love him, but this is honestly the only thing like this that I've ever asked of him. 6 hours ago, I could see a future here, but now the last few months, this proposal, and any future proposal, all feel tainted somehow. I love my Nan, but knowing he asked my parents for permission, and knowing how he got Nan's ring, just makes me feel sick. Edit. He gave me his reasoning through messages and voicemails. His stance is that there's an importance to the tradition, and that family is important. There are mentions of my parents meeting our kids one day, and Dad walking me down the aisle at our wedding. He seems to think the whole thing is fixable, and it sounds like they gave him some fake story about them grounding me, so I ran away, or something equally minor on their part and drastic on mine. He's also said that they seemed like nice people, and if he'd gotten a bad feeling when he was messaging my mom, he would never have gone to meet them. From what he said, they asked about me, specifically what I do and my workplace, and he's given them this information, but no means of contacting me directly. I don't know what to do. I need someone to tell me what to do. I need a third party to give me advice, and that would normally be a therapist or something, but it's the middle of the night and I stopped going to therapy years ago, so can someone just please tell me what to do? Put things in perspective? Give me advice? Now for the top advice before reading the update. I think you can give him a very straightforward explanation and request for clarity. You knew that I had no contact with my parents, and that was quite deliberate because of what they did to me when I was growing up. You saw me go out of my way to block my mother, and yet you went behind my back and contacted my abusers. Why did you do that? Why did you think that was okay? I understand that you're very close to your family, but wasn't it really obvious that something awful had happened in mine, and that's why I wasn't in contact with them? Take a long look at his response. If it's more along the lines of, I am so sorry, I just didn't understand, and I will never do this again. Please forgive me. I will do anything to earn back your trust. That might be one thing. But if there's even a hint of, family is important to me, or, but they seemed like nice people, or 10 years is long enough, then it's dumping time. My main worry would be if he didn't get it, that he'd decide that they should meet their grandkids down the line, or organize a surprise party, or come to the wedding. There was an OP like this a couple of years ago, but from the other side, where a guy did something similar and made contact with his wife's family, and his wife basically left him. He was writing and asking how to fix it, because he had a wonderful, very close-knit family, and naively thought that this was something that could be fixed, and that he could fix it. Of course, it's up to you. In the end, your gut will tell you the right response. A number of people here have quite reasonably said that this would be a complete deal breaker. It was certainly extremely thoughtless of him. I think if you just let him know exactly how badly he screwed up here, then his response to that will tell you whether or not it's worth trying to salvage this relationship. In your heart, can you trust him again? I've looked through his messages and voicemails and he said all the wrong things. Importance of family, importance of tradition. They seemed like nice people. Dad walking me down the aisle, them meeting their grandkids. It's like he thought of every wrong thing to say and then sent it. I don't know if I should message him. I want to fix things, but these messages aren't exactly instilling confidence. Honestly, I'd probably dump him. It's a topic I'm kind of sensitive about, so I have a zero-tolerance policy with this kind of stuff. But you might think differently. I went no contact with my parents some years ago too, called CPS and went into foster care to escape home, so I think I can relate a bit. He was aware you had no contact and didn't want any, so by reaching out to your parents, he went against your personal life choice and wish. In my opinion, he did kind of invite them back into your life a little bit by exposing this part of your life to them. Depending on your family history, some information he shared could actually be dangerous or life-threatening to you, and at the very least, it's disrespectful. If you want to continue this relationship, he should sincerely apologize and try to make amends. And of course, never disregard your personal family choices like that ever again. How could he not have at the very least considered how dangerous this could be? He says he did consider it, and if he'd gotten a bad feeling when messaging my mother, then he wouldn't have done anything. But he didn't get a bad feeling. What, he's freaking psychic now? Ted Bundy was a real charmer too. My mom was great at pretending to be a wonderful, supportive mother to her tragically mentally ill child, me. In reality, she was horrible. I won't go into details so as not to trigger you, but I wish I could go no contact. This is borderline abusive and completely controlling on his part. Now for the update the next day. So here's where I'm at. I read every comment/PM/chat and decided I had to tell him, if for no other reason than to make sure he knew why I was/am so upset about this. I talked to my ex-husband about it because he was there for the whole thing and watched it happen in real time, and he said he would be there for me and talk if I couldn't. My ex-husband was not happy with my boyfriend, to say the least, and told me that my boyfriend had actually asked him what happened about 6 months ago, but my ex-husband had said it was up to me to tell him when I was ready. My boyfriend had said that was fair enough and that he'd wait for me to tell him. My ex-husband hadn't told me any of this because I'd only just asked my boyfriend to move in, and he didn't want to undercut my happiness, which he has apologized for and said he won't do again, as in he won't keep things from me to protect me. So boyfriend comes over, ex-husband is already there. Boyfriend asks why ex-husband is here. I say I invited him for emotional support when I tell him everything. Boyfriend isn't happy but sits down. I then began to tell him. The first thing I said was what they did in the bluntest language possible, as in, my dad blank and my mom blank. I started to elaborate, when boyfriend interrupts and says something like, they told me you'd lie. Ex-husband tells him to watch how he's speaking to me, and boyfriend says he'll speak to me how he likes, and then tells me that he knew the truth, and implies I should be thanking him for sticking around. The truth appears to be my parents telling him that I was always unstable, refused to see a mental health professional, and eventually they caught me breaking the law. Rather than report me, they grounded me, and I ran away rather than get grounded, all of which is absurd, and I honestly can't believe that he bought it. Ex-husband tells boyfriend, or rather ex-boyfriend, that he has half an hour to pack his stuff and leave, and if he speaks to me at all, his time goes straight to 0. Ex-boyfriend packs his stuffs and leaves silently. So to recap, he knew that 1. I've not spoken to my parents in a decade. 2. I got married at 16 and took my husband's surname to escape/hide from them. 3. It was bad enough that I still have nightmares over it. And 4. I'd tell him when I was ready. Within a few days of hearing point 4, he sought out my parents and asked permission to marry me, based on his own gut feeling about them, because the vibe he got from their texts was a far better judge of character than my 16 years with them. They fed him lies about me, which he bought, and he gave them information which includes my full name, job field, place of work, and possibly the address of our flat. While they have not done anything with this information yet, that I know of, my ex-boyfriend has stayed in touch this whole time. So if he messages them saying I broke up with him, they might decide to pay me a visit now that there's no longer a man in the house. My ex-husband has offered to stay with me temporarily. I don't know if I have grounds for a restraining order, but it might be time to look for a new place. So yeah, sorry for how dramatic this whole thing sounds. I just wanted to post an update because I got a lot of good advice on the first post, and I want to thank everyone who responded. The situation is now resolved, though it isn't exactly the happiest ending and there's still stuff to work out, but this part is over at least. Thanks again. I just don't get the ex-boyfriend. If he believed the parents, why would he stay with her? If I genuinely thought someone would make up lies about their parents being abusive or mentally unstable and refused psychiatric assistance, I would be out the door so fast. This is me being cynical, but the quick jump to, you're lucky I even stay with you and you should appreciate it, says it was a matter of time before he became abusive, and this OP dodged a huge bullet. Absolutely. It would have started with him saying how much he thinks they should talk to the parents before the wedding, or worse, just have the parents show up to the wedding. From there, it would be pure triangulation. The three of them, plus his parents probably, so 5 of them, against her for everything. I am so glad ex-husband was with her, so the gaslighting ex-boyfriend had already prepared couldn't take hold. Ex-husband sounds like a great person and a really solid friend. Even if the parents had done something so terrible and nightmare-inducing to result in the actions Opie took, who the heck looks at their partner, the person they're supposed to love and cherish and apparently wanted to marry, and says, "Yeah, your parents said you would lie." Hello? Max excuse the heck out of me. You want to marry me, but you're favoring your freaking in-laws over me? Bad enough, but adding back the abuse that's implied? Ex-husband would have been helping me clean up a crime scene. What a freaking stain on this earth. I hope his laundry is always a little damp, and he doesn't realize it till it's folded and then all his stuff gets stank and mildewy. Who does this? The same person who turns to a financially and emotionally vulnerable young woman barely out of college, while being 29 himself at the start of relationship. Same dude who also goes behind her back. Last story. My boyfriend hates that I have a permanent bracelet with my 2 best friends, but I don't see the issue. Does anyone have any advice on this situation? Original post. I, 25 female, got a permanent bracelet with my 2 high school best friends a couple of years ago when we were all in the same city. We all live in different cities now as adults, so we have reunion trips every year or so. I've been with my boyfriend, 28 male, for 5 years now. My boyfriend made his dislike for the idea clear then, but I didn't think too much of it since I was excited and thought the idea was cute. He hadn't said much about it for a while, but I recently made a comment that it had stretched out too much to the point that I could slip it off, so I had to go get it resized. He said, "Or just take it off and never put it back on." I thought he was joking, but he proceeded to go off about how weird it was that I wear it, and how I give my friends too much importance by doing that, and that I never wear anything he gives me every day. I told him I do wear the things he gives me, but this is the only piece I have that I don't ever take off, because it's permanent, so I can shower with it and sleep with it without ruining it or losing it. I always lose jewelry, so I tend to wear pieces I care about less frequently so they don't get lost, and cheaper pieces I don't care about as much more often in case I do lose them. I said if he got me something I could sleep and shower in, I would wear it every day. He said it only makes sense to have something on my body every day that is related to my family or him. He said if the roles were reversed, I would also hate it, but that's really not true. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not like a tattoo or something actually permanent. I took the bracelet off for now, but I really like having it. Does anyone have advice on how to handle this situation? Is it weird to have this bracelet with my friends? I felt really sure that it isn't weird and shouldn't be an issue. But the more I think about it, the more I'm questioning it. Any insight is appreciated. Added for context, it's a thin gold chain that usually sits right on my wrist. No charms or embellishments. The friends are girls. He doesn't mind one of them, but he actively dislikes the other one because of some of her lifestyle choices. Nothing detrimental, he just doesn't agree or support. But that's a whole different convo. The lifestyle choice is that she likes to drink and go out to bars. Nothing about racism or sexuality. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Let's really break this down. You are lucky enough to have 2 friends from childhood who provide you great support and love you so much. They also want a daily reminder and symbol of the bond now that you're in different places. And this pisses your boyfriend off so badly he has pushed you to stop wearing it? How long before he has a problem with your annual vacation together? How long before he is policing your calls and texts with them as well? Healthy, secure people don't begrudge their partners having close friendships. I'd argue they should champion and enthusiastically encourage these bonds. If they aren't and there are no underlying toxic or dangerous dynamics, you should be asking yourself why he wants to isolate you so badly, and really take a step back and examine where else in your life he is demanding changes and you have acquiesced to keep the peace. A relationship should not require that you surrender all your autonomy. Damn, this goes hard. My best friend since 5 is a girl, and my current girlfriend absolutely hates it. Nothing sexual or outside of friendship stuff has ever happened. It would be like a cousin, which is gross to both of us. But another girl knows you better. Like I'm just supposed to delete 30 plus years of my life for her insecurity. Not to make it about me. OP's boyfriend is being ridiculous. I'm confused as to how this bracelet affects him in any way. It doesn't. He's controlling. And jealous. As soon as I got to the and he asked why I don't wear anything he gives me every day, I said, there it is. Now for the update. We talked about it more today, and I got more insight into why he doesn't like it. He said it isn't classy and is equivalent to having a tattoo in his point of view. He said it cheapens an engagement ring, since I'm already wearing something that connects me to somebody else. He said it's childish and immature, and that if we were married, he wouldn't want me to wear both that and my ring. It would have to be only my ring. The bracelet was on the right hand, FYI. He said he would understand if I bought myself the bracelet, but he doesn't get that it's something 2 other people also have. He said he didn't choose to date them, so why would I want to be like them? He sees the body as very sacred and really considers everything he puts on it, and he would want me to see it the same way. I honestly think he's reaching. Not sure where we go from here, but the implications about why he doesn't like it feel bigger than what I was originally thinking.